Air layering. Does it work? No, not for me. But we are gonna try, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what is air layering and why would we bother doing it? Well, one of the goals in bonsai, as far as I understand it, is to get a nice thick trunk. The other goals being achieving good branching, healthy roots, all in a small pot. So if you can shortcut the development of the tree and chop a big fat trunk off of an existing tree, you don't have to wait for this thing to thicken naturally. So the only way you can remove a branch of the desired thickness from a tree is to air layer, which basically means removing the bark down to the cambium layer, packing growing material around that area, which somehow or other tricks the tree into throwing roots into that medium. Once you have roots, you can then sustain the life of that branch or that tree. And as I've alluded to before, I've tried this a number of times and I've had one success. Squirrel going fucking crazy. So I don't know, just gonna keep trying until I learn what I'm doing wrong. I don't know if it's been time of year. I've tried in the spring, I've tried in the summer, I've tried in the late summer, I've tried different trees, my crab apple, my dwarf red delicious apple, the Japanese maple, I've tried my plum tree. And the only thing that's worked has been my plum tree. Maybe I'm just crazy or stupid, I don't know. This is my plum tree.
Yeah, where we put the tape on it.
That's exactly right. And this is the home of my only successful air layer I've ever accomplished. There is the site right there. And the blue pieces of tape are where I plan to try again. This is going to be number one. So I think part of the reason I was having such bad luck in the past was because I was using sphagnum peat moss, because I couldn't find the actual sphagnum moss that you would see Peter Chan and just about everybody else using for their air layers. So I was using a combination of the peat moss and some sort of Spanish moss that I found. But now I've got the real stuff. So hopefully that helps. Okay, so we've got our handy dandy electrical tape, utility knife, which I feel works really good on this, and a bunch of plastic. Plastic. And of course there's sphagnum moss, which we have to get wet. Okay, put it all in the water now. There you go. Now it's gonna have to sit in there and soak it up for a little bit. Well, here's the piece I was thinking about doing. Imagining this is some sort of literati-ish thing. So I'm gonna make my cuts in here, somewhere in there. I think, I don't know. Hey, a bee. It's actually coming off quite easily. Coming off pretty good. Just gonna try to scrape. Just make sure this is all broken. All of this stuff is completely disconnected. I'm sorry. So I don't know if you can see that. There's a dead wood strip that runs along the inside of that crack. Don't know how that originated, but I think I've scraped it all out, and I imagine that since it's dead wood, it doesn't really matter. There's no cambium on top of that to transmit hormones or anything. So I think that'll be okay. This is about, 1.25 inches quarter or so. Let's wrap it up. Well, here we are. It's nice and tight, and I think normally what I would do in the past is cover the whole plastic thing with foil, but since this is electrical tape, there's no light gonna get in there. There's no light gonna get in there. No light will get in there and heat this thing up and cook it, which is why, from what I understand, you would put the foil on it in the first place. So I might just patch it up with a little bit more electrical tape. Always overdo it, I say. Never underdo it. There's still some spots that need tightening up anyway. And you know, one question I would have for anybody who knows what the they're doing is it best to leave more tree knowing you're going to cut it off so that more sap and all that goodness is then drawn back down to the cut point? Or is it best to cut it off where you're intending to cut it off now at the time of the air layer? I'm actually really curious about that.
Don't do that one, Nate. We're not nice to her.
Okay. Well, I think that's going to do it for now. We did 1 on the plum, 2 on the dwarf red delicious, 1 on the Japanese maple, and 2 on the dawn redwood. And I don't see any point in doing any more if I'm doing it wrong. Oh, and if I'm doing anything blatantly wrong, please just let me know. I did have some questions here, so that's it. Until next time, I'll keep you updated. Cheers. So I don't know.